Now we're about to begin lathe part 2. On the screen right now, I have the basic Cartesian coordinate system for the lathe. We have the Z positive, the X positive, or we can call the diameter cut, the Z negative, the X minus, or the D minus, which is diameter negative zone. We are going to create everything in this quadrant here. This quadrant right here will have a positive X and a negative Y in our Z, in our programs. So we want to begin by drawing a horizontal line. So before I do that, I want to set up my planes. Right now, we are set up for X, Y plane and Z, as you can see there. Well, we're going to change that to, put that in the screen. We're going to come over to planes and take a look at other planes that we can use for doing lathe work. Under the lathe diameter or lathe radius, we can choose either or. This would be drawn in the WCS for radiuses. This is diameter. Kind of interesting to use it. It's nice to see because it gives you an idea of how your machine should act. And you can kind of see the way it's going to cut the part. I use D positive and Z positive, WCS. That means my positive is here, on top, and bottom. Okay, not bottom, but a horizontal. I'm going to create a line. I'm going to create a horizontal line. This is where I'm going to start from. Now, I wanted you to get used to these snaps that we have. These are preset snaps. We can grab an endpoint of a line, an intersection of a line, a midpoint of a line, but we're going to use the origin. So I grab the origin, and I'm using horizontal. As I come across here, it says to enter the D value. Okay, now the D value is the diameter value. And if you look at your part, the overall diameter, the largest diameter of the part is 0.95. So if I come in here and type in 0.95, it will give me my line exactly at 0.95, but 50% because the other half of the line would be over here. So it's giving us the radius at that time in drawing, but when we cut, we're going to get that full diameter cut. Hope that makes it clear. The length of that line, I'm going to make it 3 inches. Okay, so now I have my outside boundary. I will apply that. I'm going to create a horizontal line again, touching the origin, snaps to the origin, and now I can touch the end of this and I'm set. I can apply that. Looking at it, there's a diameter of a 1/2 inch, so I'm going to go to the origin to 3 inches, and if it's 1/2 inch, I'm going to put the whole value in my dimension, but it's only going to go half the distance. We'll apply that at the origin, go to the end here, and the thread relief diameter is 0.4, so if I put the diameter there, I have the diameter value there. It's kind of neat to do that. I will apply that. Let's try that with a vertical. So I'm going to go to the origin. I'll come to the top here. And now I'm going to do some offsets. Or not offset, but positioning. Now, if I go negative 3 inches, it's going to start here from 3 inches here because I'm setting the Z coordinate. And it's going to go back here to 3 inches. So if I apply that, it went back there. Continue on. We'll go to the origin to the top. And the length of the thread area is 0.75. So I'm going to put 0.75. Do you see it went positive because I didn't put a negative in it? So if I come back up here and just change that value to a negative and hit enter again, it will put in there. So realize most of our Z code will be negative except for any retracts out here. Apply that. Do the same thing. Origin here. The next one looks like it's 0.9 of an inch minus 0.9. And now I have the majority of the geometry I need to create this part. I will check out of there. I'm going to use trim, break, extend. And as I select trim, break, extend here, it shows the ribbon bar and it activates all the different trim methods. We have trim 1 entity, trim 2 entity, trim 3 entity, divide, or even trim to a point. But we also can find trim under edit, trim break, and there's the command we're working right now, trim, break, and extend. And yes, it also extends. But whatever's shaded, as you can see, turns blue on my screen, that is active. So I like the divide one. So I select what I want to get rid of. And looking at the drawing, these are the parts I want to get rid of. And there is my part. Now I can see I missed one vertical line here. I'll go back and add that vertical line. Forgot to finish that up. We'll go to the origin and we can snap to there without even trimming. And now we have the basic profile of the part. We need to add some fillets and a chamfer here. So let's go up here to our chamfer or our fillet area. We can also find many of these sketching tools under create under the pull down menu. Here's our chamfer and here's our fillet. I still prefer much the toolbar area. And as I do this and I choose fillet, my ribbon bar right here will be active. And the drawing, it says the radius should be set. And as you can see, this is a radius symbol that it's a 1/4 inch. So I select the entity I want to fillet, and it's these two entities I want to fillet, and there's my fillet or my round. And I'll apply, check that. Then I'll come up here, choose the arrow down button. Know that every time you see an arrow, there's more commands underneath this. I'm going to come down here and choose chamfer. And the chamfer setting should be at 50 thou. You might have to change yours, put in 0.05, then come down and touch the two entities you want to fillet. And you should have your complete profile of your part at this time. And if you wanted to add more, which the assignment is to make this, but add some where we can profile in here and use some groove tools, it's kind of neat to do that. So let's go ahead and start off with that. I'll do a line. I'll turn off any options here to give it free flowing, and I'll come over here and I'll make a V cut here. That one I'm going to set to 315 degrees. And I'll click here and I'll go this way and I'll set that one to 45 degrees. So now I got a little V cut in there. The next one I'm going to do is do a circle. So I'll get a center point offset. What's offset? It's about 3/4 of an inch. We'll apply that. I'll create my circle and I'll come up here and I'm going to make a diameter of about 0.2 of an inch. I'll apply that and I can see that I have magenta and which is the result of the group I selected. You can also come up here and clear your colors anytime. Now, since I know what divide does, I'm going to choose, again, my trim break and select the things I don't want to keep to create my new design. There's my new design. And looking at that design, I could add fillets in here and stuff like that. I'm just going to leave it in the basic form. If you want to toolpath fillets, you can, which it'll really clean it up. But to see this design, I can choose a solid revolve, select my geometry that's closed, check, and it's going to ask me select a line to be used as an axis of rotation. Well, that's this line right here. So I'll click it, and there's my part that I just designed. It's a fun looking part. This is going to have our thread in there, which is a 1/2-13. It's going to have a thread relief, so if we do screw this in, it will bottom out against whatever it's going into. And there's my part. Okay, I'm actually going to put that on a different level, but before I do that, I'm going to activate solid, and I like to select solid, right button mouse click, and remove solid history. And so now I can separate the lines, delete the lines, and it won't affect my solid. So now the solid's all independent to itself. I will choose the solid, right button mouse click on levels, and move it to level 4, which level 4 is already my solid lathe part 2. So I'll move it to there, and now it's on there. I will come down to levels and turn off that solid because we're going to learn to wireframe toolpath. So there's your first part, your drawing. Take your time, create your own design here, but you must follow this basic setup. We're going to have a 1/2-13 thread, a thread relief, and this fillet. Then your design area, your open canvas is this area. Do splines, do straight lines, but I will show you how to use toolpaths to cut those out.